Will Bosi, Aidan Roberts, Janja Garnbret, and some names you haven't heard of, all making it into the top 10 climbing moments of 2024. Whether on a lonely boulder at the UK's Lake District, or on climbing's biggest stage of the Paris Olympics, these climbers inspired us with their strength, precision, and determination. My name is August. Welcome to August Climbing. Thank you so much for joining in as we look at 2024's top 10 climbing moments. If I miss anything that you think should have been included, definitely let me know in the comments. We'll go roughly in chronological order, starting at number 1 with none other than Will Bosi. In February, Will made his first climbing trip to the United States with his eyes set on a lofty objective: attempt to repeat Daniel Wood's unrepeated V17 or 9A, Return of the Sleepwalker. This boulder is located in Black Velvet Canyon near Las Vegas, Nevada. To understand Return of the Sleepwalker, it's important to know about its stand start Sleepwalker, which was first ascended by Jimmy Webb in 2018 and graded V16 or 8C+. Daniel Woods repeated Sleepwalker shortly after Webb, but saw potential for something even harder: a 6-move sit-start leading directly into this V16. Woods embarked on a 3-month-long process where he completely dedicated himself to this climb, including a month camping and climbing alone in the desert, before setting the first V17 in the US in 2021. This year, Will Bosi started his US trip by making incredibly quick work of the stand start Sleepwalker, ultimately sending it on the first go of his 3rd session. Following the ascent, Will shared that Sleepwalker felt more like a V15 than a V16 to him, leading many to wonder if he would downgrade Return of the Sleepwalker as well. But after 12 sessions, Will succeeded in sending one of America's hardest boulder problems and confirmed the grade of V17 or 9A for Return of the Sleepwalker. In doing so, he became the first and still only person to repeat this Daniel Woods first ascent. And in the process, he added a 3rd V17 to his resume. But the V17 saga was just getting started. At number 2, though we didn't know it at the time, Aidan Roberts was hard at work on a boulder known as the Helvellyn Project near his home in the Lake District in the UK. A short but intense problem that could prove to be at the top end of bouldering grades. Aidan managed to make the first ascent in the winter, seemingly in February, but took several months of reflection before sharing this more broadly with the climbing community. In May, Aidan shared on Instagram about his experience with this climb, naming it Spots of Time, and ultimately proposing a grade of V17 or 9A. About the process, Aidan said, "Around 10 sessions saw me complete my sequence and solve the moves, the same again to refine them to a place of relative consistency where I could begin giving tries. A try at the end of September 2023 saw me setting up for the last move, though without a hope of beginning to generate. It took a winter of some of the most intensive training I've subjected myself to in order to equip me with all the tools necessary to start playing the game of chances." And that training certainly paid off, with Aidan noting, "The final try was not so far from perfect. With just a little left in the tank, it feels like I've got trickier things still in me somewhere." With this ascent, Aidan established the UK's hardest boulder problem to date, and also sent his 2nd V17 climb. We'll get to talk more about Spots of Time and a certain well-known boulderer toward the end of this video. We'll jump into number 3 in just a moment, but real quick, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Climbing Culture. Climbing Culture's tagline is supporting climbers in their journey, and they've definitely been helping me do just that. I've been using Climbing Culture's loose chalk and this handy climbing brush in all of my sessions for the past several months, and I've been loving both of these products. The loose chalk is everything I could want and more in a climbing chalk, and at an affordable price. I've liked this brush, especially the size of it from the start, and I was wondering how it would hold up, but I've subjected it to quite a bit of wear and tear, and it's still in great condition. My commitment to you is that I will only ever recommend products that I use and love, and Climbing Culture is one of those brands. You can use code AUGUST for 10% off your order and buying climbing culture products is another great way to support this channel. I'll have some other exciting product announcements coming soon from climbing culture, but for now, thanks to climbing culture for sponsoring today's video. And now for top climbing moment number 3, here's perhaps the most well-known V17 boulder, Burden of Dreams. Originally sent by Nalle Hukkataival in 2016, it was then repeated by Will Bosi and Simon Lorenzi in 2023. But for several seasons since 2022, Elias Iagnemma has also been at work projecting Burden of Dreams on replica as well as the real boulder. His persistence paid off in March of 2024 when he found himself standing atop this famed boulder. And notably, Elias sent Burden using beta that we had not seen from previous ascenders. It featured this left heel hook, which had to then be released and controlled before attempting the final move. This is Iagnemma's first V17 ascent, and at the time of recording this video, the only ascent of Burden of Dreams in 2024, despite efforts from many other pro climbers. This next one, top moment number 4, is another first ascent from Aidan Roberts on a boulder that may one day become as well known as Burden of Dreams. It's a V17 called Arrival of the Birds, and much like Spots of Time, Aidan took time for personal reflection before sharing about it broadly. The ascent appears to have occurred in spring, likely March, with Aidan posting about it on Instagram this June. The climb is located in Ticino, Switzerland, and was originally known as the Midnight Project. The line was shown to Aidan by Giuliano Cameroni in 2022. About his impressions of the boulder, Aidan shared, "Immediately, I was inspired by the line for its pure, finger-intensive style and unique set of holds. After multiple seasons of projecting this futuristic climb, Aidan gave an attempt from the ground where everything came together. He shared, in my best suited style, a special attempt saw my mind clear and my method without fault, yet still my body redlined as I neared the top. A deeply exhausting try saw me standing above the valley as dusk broke. Bird song echoed everywhere." Aidan spoke about Arrival of the Birds being his hardest bouldering ascent to date, even harder than Spots of Time and Elfane, the 2 other V17 or 9/8s that he's done. Leaving some to wonder, is this the next level of bouldering? Like, are we looking at V18, 9A plus here? But Aidan ultimately landed on a proposal of solid V17 or 9A, saying, "Acknowledging how well it suits me, I suspect this could be a pretty solid 9A, though aware that these boundaries are far from being well understood, and certainly not by myself. Grades and all their inconsistencies feel they ought to refer to a feature of a boulder and not the climber, so I hope that future ascensionists will help to offer their honest opinions." And as it stands at the time of this recording, no one has yet repeated Arrival of the Birds. Plus, we are still eagerly anticipating the footage of Aidan's ascent. And now for top moment number 5, Janja Garnbret. But we're not talking about the Olympics just yet, because in May, Janja made the female first ascent of Bügeleisen Sit V15 or 8C in Austria. This is Janja's hardest boulder problem to date and made her only the 7th woman to climb this grade. This ascent came as quite a surprise since we figured Janja would be exclusively focused on indoor climbing in the lead up to the Olympics. But it's incredible how it all came together. Check out what Janja had to say about this climb on Instagram. "Dream boulder done. 2 years have passed since I sent the stand start of the boulder and was just waiting for the right time to come back and get my revenge on the sit start. Today was the day. Came back way stronger and moves felt a lot easier than they used to. Took me less than half an hour to get the moves dialed in and set in the boulder. Proud to be the first woman to get this one done. Funny side note, wasn't happy with the video Roman took of my ascent, so I actually went for another go and climbed the whole thing again. I would call that a mind-blowing side note. No big deal, just climb the V15 again to get better footage of it. And you see it in her flow and the speed and ease with which she climbs this boulder. It's no wonder that we refer to Janja Garnbret as the GOAT. Now, a little background here. In March of 2022, Janja posted a video of her female first ascent of the stand version of this problem, which is of course what she referred to in her post. The stand start was put up in 2001 by Clem Lascott, but it wasn't until 2014 that Nale Hukataival established the sit start that bumps this problem up from V14 to V15. With this then, Janja becomes the 7th woman to climb a V15 boulder. Here's the list of female climbers who have set V15, and you better believe by the end of this video, we're gonna add some more names to this list. At number 6, we've got a sport climbing top moment. In May, Anak Verhoeven sent La Planta de Shiva 515B or 9B, located in Spain. The first ascent of this route was done by Ondra in 2011. Verhoeven's ascent of the route made her just the 4th woman to climb 9B. On Instagram, she had this to say, "Have I really just set my first 9B? A dream come true which hasn't fully sunk in yet." But this wasn't the end of the story. Just a few days after the initial ascent, she shared, "Just sent La Planta again, but without knee pads. A personal challenge because I knew I could, and because the first ascent of La Planta de Shiva in 2011 had also been done without pads." Wow, that's quite the personal challenge. And as it turns out, Ondra did actually use one knee pad during the first ascent, so Anak really went above and beyond to send this route in a pure no knee pad style. For top moment number 7, we are on to sport climbing's second appearance at the Olympics at the Paris 2024 Games. Many of you first tuned into the channel during my Olympic recap video, so thank you so much for that. We only had to wait 3 years for this competition due to Tokyo's delayed games. But this time around, we'll have to wait a full 4 years for the LA 2028 Olympics. For this top moment, I'm going to share with you a few of my most memorable moments from the games. And please comment with your favorite Olympic moments also. Here's an incredible one. Brooke Rabitu ran over to hug Janja Garnbret and congratulate her on winning gold in women's boulder and lead. What a beautiful display of friendship and sportsmanship. Brooke had just been bumped from the gold medal position into the silver medal position following Janja's lead performance. But instead of being upset about this, it was a moment to celebrate as they had both made the Olympic podium. Another favorite of mine, Toby Roberts, his expression of disbelief at winning gold in men's boulder and lead. And for 2 teenagers to win gold and silver with Serrato and Raku really signals a new era in sport climbing. A veteran competitor, Aidan Roberts, has already signaled that at his age, he's unlikely to compete in boulder anymore. Maybe we'll see Ondra in a lead-only format, but likely not in boulder or combined formats anymore. So it really is these young athletes who are moving this sport forward. And there's one more moment to cover regarding the Olympics. In Paris, speed debuted as its own Olympic medal event. This was well received and in my eyes, a huge win. This allowed us to see the speed specialists shine. Sam Watson set a new world record at 4.74 seconds. And of course, Vedrik Leonardo won gold in men's speed. Alexandra Miroslav won gold in women's speed and beat her own world record with a time of 6.06 seconds. Now let's move on to something exciting that happened shortly after the Olympics. This top moment number 8 features 2 climbers who both repeated 2 Ondra classics in the Hanskjelleren Cave in Flatanger, Norway. The 2 routes that I'm talking about are Change and Move, both graded 9B/plus. These routes are first ascents put up by Adam Ondra in 2012 and 13 respectively. And all these years later, they still prove to be a worthy challenge for the world's top sport climbers. Do you know who repeated these routes in 2024? One is Alex Megos, who after a disappointing performance at the Olympic Games, reminded us he's still one of the world's best climbers. The other is Jorge Díaz-Rullo, whose sheer volume of top-end sport climbing continues to amaze us. Díaz-Rullo showed up twice in last year's top 10 video with 2 9B+ ascents, and he continues to work on some next-level sport climbing projects, Oh, and did I mention he sent a V16 boulder this year too? At top moment number 9, we have Marine Thevenet with an ascent of Juneru V15 or 8C in Spain. I told you we weren't done with this expanding list of women who have sent V15. Marine announced this send on Instagram in October, sharing, "Yesterday I found myself at the top of this dream boulder. A sweet revenge after falling right at the top a year ago. It's just a piece of rock, a pretty good one, but for me, it's pure joy and the end of a beautiful adventure." Juneru was first climbed by Ruben Diaz-Torres in 2020, and Marine's ascent makes her the 8th woman to climb the grade of V15. For top moment number 10, we return to our friend Will Bosi, who really loves to repeat V17 boulders. So much so that he's now done it 4 times, the most V17s of anyone ever. We're talking about Spots of Time, Aidan Roberts' first ascent that we covered in top climbing moment number 2. Will initially began projecting Spots of Time in May of this year, but then took a break to wait for colder weather. From September onward, Will resumed sharing about his projecting sessions on Spots of Time, and it became clear that he was making quick progress, especially as he refined his beta, which involved a different method of starting the boulder than Aidan, and as he worked out a way to skip an intermediate hold with a larger left-hand throw. Then in October, Will shared Spots of Time 9A V17, super psyched to get the second ascent of this king line on Saturday. Thanks Aidan Roberts for establishing one of the best hard lines I've ever tried. And this second ascent came after Will spent just 8 sessions on the boulder, though he still felt confident that it was indeed a V17 or 9A climb. And as mentioned, he now has 4 V17 ascents to his name, with perhaps a 5th one on the way? Megatron, Terra Nova, or even Will's own V17 first ascent? All right, we've got a bonus moment because this just happened. 2024 top moment number 11, Michaela Kiersch has made the female first ascent of Dreamtime. This is graded V15 or 8C and is located in Switzerland. Dreamtime is the world's first V15 boulder with a first ascent from friend Nicole in 2000. In November, Michaela shared on Instagram, "Dreamtime. Words escape me at the moment. I can't believe I brought this dream down from the stars and into my own hands. I'm forever grateful to share the world's first 8C as my own, and thank you, friend Nicole, for this iconic boulder." Let's expand this list one more time. Michaela Kiersch becomes the 9th woman to send V15. We've talked about Michaela quite a bit on this channel, including her incredible tick list in Rocklands earlier this year. Her climbing resume was already quite impressive, and it's exciting to see her snag that first V15. What's your top climbing moment of 2024? And check the description for links to videos of these top moments. Many of these ascents have been shared in their entirety, and you can go check those out on YouTube and Instagram. My name is August. Thank you so much for watching as we covered the top 10 climbing moments from 2024.